Hey guys, this is Joe Deckelmeyer with Screen Rant. I am here with the creators of Undone and Rosa Salazar, Raphael Bob-Waksberg and Kate Purdy. How are you guys?
Great.
Doing great.
So good. How are you? It's nice to see you again.
It's great seeing you too. I am excellent. You know what? I didn't get a chance to see the first two episodes yesterday.
What a treat you have to look forward to.
I know, because we saw the trailer and I was stunned.
It's better for you because you're going to want to binge every episode after you see the first two.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to just watch two and then stop. I feel bad for the people who already saw the first two.
Yeah, let's apologize to them right now.
Have to wait.
Well, I want to talk about just the visual look, because the first immediate thing that came to my head was Scanner Darkly. As soon as you see that, right? And it's the rotoscoping is the technology, right? Talk to me a little bit about why the concept of this started with rotoscoping.
Sure. Well, we actually have some of the people who worked on Scanner Darkly, some of the same animators and Waking Life. Well, we want Kate and I were talking about the idea for the show. It's a show about a woman who is disaffected with life and wants to believe that there's something more. And then suddenly is presented with this idea that maybe there is something more, and that something more is terrifying and exciting and uncomfortable and seductive all at once. And so we wanted to make sure we grounded the show in the real world, and it felt like this is a real woman with real relationships making these choices that she makes, and not just like, oh, you know, I'm Dorothy and I live in Kansas and I can't wait to go over the rainbow. Oh, and then all of a sudden I do. Or, you know, even like the Matrix, this idea of like, oh, all of a sudden the world is so much bigger and now I am all in on this, you know. I've chosen the correct pill and here I go. We wanted the choice to be more difficult than that. And so we wanted to spend time with the character in the real world and feel like this was a real character. And so the idea of rotoscoping animation felt like a great way to do that, to kind of, it feels realer than most animated shows, but then also because it's animated, when the freaky stuff starts happening, it doesn't feel like, okay, here come the special effects. It feels like an outgrowth of the reality that we've already established.
Rosa, for you as an actress, what was it about the script that really made you connect with the project?
Well, the writing is superb. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful. There were times where I have a best friend that I've literally put myself on tape with every single time I've done a self-tape. And anytime I get a script, I read it with this friend. And we read the scripts together. And there were moments where he'd have to stop because it was so affecting.
Wow.
There's highly emotional scripts. They come from a very real, deep place. And at the same time, the jokes are very funny. It's very punchy. But they're born out of that same place. So they feel very authentic. Both moments of grief and moments of joy and moments of hilarity. It's just, the script is so wonderful. But yeah, I got to read the script in a funny way, actually. I went in on a Sunday, which is not normal, to put myself on tape for a separate show. And with Linda Montagna, who's the casting director, she's brilliant. And I put myself on tape and said, how was that? And she went, yeah. And she opened a drawer in her desk and she pulled out Undone. And she's like, this is really why I called you here. I'm not supposed to be showing you this, but like this, I'm getting you fired right now. This is why I brought you here. But this is why she's so good. She had this feeling and she acted on it. And she said, I think this is meant to be. And she watched me read it as I sat on her couch, every single page. And then she said, okay, just read the first.
Are you liking it yet? Do you like it yet?
How do you feel? How do you feel?
What'd you laugh at?
How do you feel?
Well,
you know how she does her emails where she talks out loud each email? That's the way I read it. Where she's like, oh, this guy. Dear Greg, I'm like, could you? Yeah, and then she said, just do the opening monologue on tape, and we'll just do it right now here. Just move this tape, and we'll do it right now. And I loved that. So I left there feeling really invigorated, and I'd read this beautiful script, and whoa, that really rocked my world. And then I got to come in and talk to these two geniuses about. That sounded sarcastic. These funny.
These geniuses.
These geniuses, and Kate spoke of her own experience with mental illness and her own deep dive into her psyche, and Raphael, who you obviously know as the mind behind BoJack, spoke to me about the process and the story and you know rotoscope, and they both told me about Hisco, who I was already a fan of because of Junkyard and because of Montage of Heck. So I really felt connected to it in this beautiful, serendipitous, magical way. I thought, this is magic.
Right.
Which is such a great way to approach a show that is essentially about magic.
Right.
I mean,
I think.
this is a literal visual journey that it seems like that the trailer at least shows. Now, was rotoscoping always kind of like the first choice that you guys wanted to go with, or were there any other options that you guys may have toyed with while developing this?
Really, story and character came first.
Okay.
And we did wonder, like, well, this could be live action possibly. We thought about that. And then we thought, well, if it's live action, when you do sort of the more magical, time-bendy reality becoming more elasticized, you're going to feel the difference. Mm-hmm. But with animation, you have the luxury of stretching reality in a way that won't feel like you're breaking the tone or breaking the show. So we started talking about, well, how can we do animation where we get that very grounded feeling? And when we saw Hisco's work from Montage of Heck and then Junkyard, we reached out to him because his style is so grounded, so real, so beautiful, so lush. And he was interested, which was a benefit to us. And he suggested rotoscoping because he had done a project with Tommy Pilata, who did Scanner Darkly and Waking Life. And he had a great collaboration with him. They said, this we can get all the micro expressions. That's the stuff that you lose in other animation. And we want to get all the beautiful performances from Rosa and the other actors and feel all this emotion. And like, you can really feel Rosa's performance just pierce through. I mean, that's a testament to her as a performer, but also the medium captures all of it, which is what we want to get. And it ended up being a collaboration that benefited the storytelling.
Rosa, you were no stranger to visually stunning projects.
Thanks.
How did your previous work help you prepare for this?
Well, I think I'm finding out that this is something that I'm really good at. I think I'm finding out that this is what I'm meant to be doing. It did help, you know. It helped me because when I did, you're referencing Alita, I'm sure. It taught me that a really valuable lesson in leaving my body behind in a way. I mean, I used my body as my instrument, but I got to, I say this a lot, but I got to exist freely. I wasn't bogged down by, you know, cumbersome special effects or latex makeups or hair or even clothing. I got to exist solely for the emotional core of it. That's all I had to, you know, and yes, I'm using my body, and yes, you're picking up my movements, and yes, I'm doing those stunts, and yes, I'm, you know, but it's really this, I get to really, really exist emotion first. And I love that.
I think what's so great with Rosa as an actress is I think she's very good at summoning that emotion honestly and in a place that feels very real and grounded and true and open. And that, you know, one thing we talked about with Tommy, but when we were kind of prepping this, he said, you know, some actors, when they hear it's going to be rotoscopy or mocap, as they think, oh, I have to play it really big. I have to, you know, give them a lot of stuff to like do to me.
Right.
And in fact, the opposite is true, is that the more stripped down and naked and real you can act, and the smaller your expressions, the animators can catch all that.
Right.
And so I think Rosa just is an incredibly wonderful, expressive face and is great at communicating so much with so little, and so much is happening internally, and she knows how to show that to you. And I think our team of animators are really good at using what Rosa gave them and picking, you know, which lines to take and which lines to ignore on the face and communicate that to an audience in a beautiful way.
I was shocked again. I mean, and I went through this process with Alita as well, but when I watched Undone, I was so shocked at how I didn't know how some jokes would play. For instance, there is a truth or dare, a drunken truth or dare moment. And in which Alma sort of, you know, is setting up her sister in a way. And I didn't know if that moment was going to land, because they kiss and then it's a shot on Alma over the shoulder, you know, making this kind of like, yep, kind of an expression, and it's a hard expression to even convey to you with words, harder to convey with just a facial expression and a feeling. And I'm like, wow, if it's this hard to convey, and if it's this complicated of a notion to explore emotionally and to show emotionally, how I wonder if for this particular moment, is it going to, and it's perfectly conveyed. It's right there. It's right there. And you think that sometimes things might get lost, but it's the exact opposite. Those moments are highlighted somehow.
Well, it's wonderful too. I don't know if you remember this, but that I feel like a lot of times in the edit, we would be looking at scenes and feel like these guys are talking too much. Like they're so good and the chemistry is there. Like you can just give a look to your sister and we know what she's thinking.
It's profound.
And so we ended up taking out a lot of lines in the scenes. We felt like, oh, they're selling it and they know it. And these relationships feel so lived in, and the chemistry between the actors is so real. And we had faith that the animators would bring that out, and they really did.
Yeah.
You actually answered my next question. I also know that this there was, you guys shot a lot, right? Like the intensity of the shoots was, I think I read like 23 pages or 20.
That's the number Rosa keeps pulling. I don't know if that's actually true.
It happened one day.
It happened one day, but I don't think we shot less than like 10 pages a day.
Yeah,
no,
10
that's
was
true.
kind of the standard.
Which is absurd.
Right.
Yeah.
It's absurd. But one week, and I think it was our first week, was the most grueling week, and it was, and none of us really knew what level of endurance to bring to it yet. So we're all just kind of like,
Well, also you, Rosa, are in almost every scene in the series.
Yeah, I'm in
there's
every frame.
there's a handful of scenes that you're not in, but
Yeah.
generally every episode you're in
so I'm
most
like,
of it.
all right, let's do this thing, guys. And and we were doing a few things that Bob wasn't going to be there for other episodes because he was finishing up Saul, and Better Call Saul on.
They know about Better Call Saul.
AMC.
You don't need to pimp that show.
He plays a disgraced lawyer, and
Stop.
Michael McKean's in it.
Stop it.
But he wasn't going to be there, so we did a few other extra things. And we did shoot 23 pages in one day, and it nearly broke my own reality, and I loved it.
That's amazing. Now, Rosa, you and I bonded over Alita.
We did.
I have to ask, sequel?
It's coming out September 9th.
Surprise, they made a sequel.
2019. You didn't even know that yet, but this one took like 3 months to make. It was like bing bang
Real
boom.
cheap.
I guess after the first
Mostly
one, it
cardboard
was like,
boxes.
No, it's a lot less green screen, a lot more like handheld cinema verite.
It's been a new director. He
No
doesn't technically
CGI.
have the
I
rights
directed
to the
it.
Alita
You
property.
directed it.
Yeah,
She just did it. Got a couple of her friends. It's a VHS tapes.
We're gonna drop it on YouTube today. I think actually. I don't know, but of course, sign me up.
I'd love to see it, guys.
I'd love to see it too, but you know what? You have this.
Yeah.
In the
I'm
meantime,
done.
while you
Really
wait for Alita 2.
Great, and it's gonna break your mind.
Yeah, I saw the trailer and I
Yeah.
was blown away. So I can't wait to see it. When's it coming out on Amazon?
We don't know yet. Soon.
It's a secret.
Sometime-
This fall. It's this fall.
This fall.
We're not going to tell anyone. You have to catch it.
September.
Well, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Screen
Right
Out.
around the Jewish High Holy Days.
Okay. Which one?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you guys so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Thank you
You
for
guys are
having
awesome.
us.
It's always good to see you.